What up, everyone? Back for another video. And this time around, we have the review of Monkey vs. Lizard. And a discussion, because I want to hear your thoughts as well. I say this in every video, and I just want to remind you, this isn't all about my review, it's about a discussion. I want to hear what your thoughts on it and get a discussion going in the comments. Thank you to all the people that commented on the last movie review, and in general, thank you for the people that comment. It's good to hear from you. It's good to talk to you. Other than that, you'll be hearing my opinion of it and my review of Monkey vs. Lizard. So, overall, real quick, pretty much what I expected it to be. So I mentioned it in some of the nerdy news videos, what I thought it was going to be, and it was pretty in line of what I thought it was going to be. Overall, I liked it. I enjoyed it. But I wouldn't say it was an amazing cinematic feature. Basically, I was going into it with the mindset, I want to see some cool fights between Monkey and Lizard. That's what I'm going in for, that's what I want to see, and that's what I did see, and it looked dope. Other than that, storyline, everything else, other than that, pretty much crap. There's just no other way to put it, and that's how it's been for all the movies, from Kong Skull Island to the original Godzilla to the King of Monsters, and now this one, where it's all the cool stuff, and then they have the storylines of the people, and it's just like, okay, when does Godzilla come back, because this is boring as fuck. So that's the basic idea of it. And Lovin was back in this movie, and it's funny that she was in this, because the whole scene, all the parts that she was in, reminded me very much of the last season of Stranger Things, in the sense that it was really stupid. It was so dumb. I hated that third season of Stranger Things. Dumbest season ever. I liked that show. That season sucked. With the kids going around in the military base and, like, solving crimes. It's like, what is this, fucking Scooby-Doo? There's a bunch of kids in solving mysteries? Like, that's so stupid. And that was the exact same thing in the movie. She's not that much older in this movie than she was in the show. And it's the same thing. A bunch of teenagers running around trying to solve a mystery. It's like, that is so dumb. Like, and so many parts of it that you see in movies where the door doesn't open, so they just hit the panel really hard, and all of a sudden it opens, or they spill something on the panel, and then that shuts it down. It's like, that's so dumb. It's the dumbest thing ever. So, all that stuff, really stupid, didn't make a lot of sense, and there was a lot of it that just wasn't explained, and I don't think it still is explained to this, even after seeing the movie. But that's okay. I expected that, because that's what the previous movies were, and that's what this movie was. So if you go into it with that mindset, you shall enjoy the movie, but just know that. And it's been the same ever since the original Godzilla from like 1954. Same thing, where it's just, the people are just running around panicked, and they're just saying and doing dumb stuff, and no one really cares about that. They just want to see the big lizard and the big monkey. So that's the basic idea of it. And there's so many parts of it that weren't explained, as in, like, I have a feeling that there's some parts that I didn't understand that were explained in previous movies, because I didn't watch them a bunch. I pretty much saw them all one time, so there may just be some loose ends of that I just wasn't seeing. But there's so many parts of it, like, at the beginning of it, they have Kong in this dome, and it's like, well, where did that come about? Are we supposed to know? Was that mentioned in a previous movie? Or I wasn't too sure about that. And then all of a sudden they bring him out, and then Godzilla shows up, as he is one to do, and they get into a fight. And then Lizard kicks the crap out of Monkey, and that's pretty much how it goes. And Monkey plays dead, and Lizard goes away. And I thought that part was weird. It's like, well, I thought the whole point of them fighting was that there can only be, like, one alpha. So isn't the point to kill the other one if you want to be the only alpha? Like, that was the point in King of the Monsters. He had to kill the other ones. Like, that's what it was. And same in Kong Skull Island, he had to kill the other monsters. Like, that's the point of being the alpha. You have to take down anyone that opposes you. So it was just a weird thing that when the monkey was playing dead and then Godzilla just kind of walked away, and it's like, okay, you're not going to go finish the job you started? That's super weird. And the same thing happened in their second roundabout. The same thing, where it was like he defeated, Godzilla defeated Kong again, had him down, but didn't finish the job. And then they got into that screaming match, which was really weird. And then there was that whole thing where the journey into the center of the Earth, where Monkey had to go into the center of the Earth to find Stormbreaker, and then he finds it and comes up and fights the lizard again. It's like, well, now it's getting weird again. Like, there's just so many unexplained things that just kind of happened. And the previous movies are more sci-fi, and now I feel like this is getting into full-on fantasy, where there's just, like, a bunch of weird shit happening. And again, it was cool to see. Visually speaking, it was very well done, and I liked that aspect of it. It was just odd that there was just like very little to no explanation for any of it. So again, it's that mindset of if you're just going in for some visuals and you want to see some cool shit, absolutely. If you're going in for a well-rounded story that makes sense, hard pass on that. So, and then after the whole fight with Monkey and Lizard, then the Red Eyes Black Dragon shows up, and then they join forces, which is pretty much exactly what I predicted. So overall, it was still cool to see all that, and I'm so stoked that Mechagodzilla was in it, by the way. That's so awesome. The second I heard that Mechagodzilla was in it, I got so excited. He was my favorite character growing up. I watched the original Kong vs. Godzilla that was made in, I don't even know what year, 70s, 80s? I watched it when I was a kid, and that was my favorite, and Mechagodzilla was my favorite character. But, you know, I will say, he did look cool in the movie, but I like the design of him in Ready Player One. Remember when he showed up in that movie? I like that design better. I was super excited when he showed up in that movie. I think he looked better in that movie than he did in this movie. Not a big difference, but I wish they would have kept that design. I thought that was much cooler. But either way, it was cool to see him in there. And it's one of those things where it's more like nerd fandom type of thing, where I was just excited to see that character, not really thinking about if it really made sense to the story. But either way, it was still really cool to see. And you know, throughout this whole movie, the whole time, I'm wondering, personally, like, where is Godzuki? Is no one watching after him? You know, he's probably off getting into trouble. That's what always happened in the TV show. Every time someone wasn't looking, he was off getting into trouble. And that's what happens. Someone better go find him, because he's off getting into trouble somewhere. And I was surprised they didn't have a cameo of him, by the way. I was totally thinking at the end they would have, like, some after-credit scene where there's an egg or something like that, and it would be... I don't think they would call him Godzuki, by the way. I'm sure they would come up with something. But, you know, this movie just kind of ended with there's no real, like, answers to anything. So Monkey and Lizard join forces to beat the Red Eyes Black Metal Dragon, and then it just kind of ends. Like, there's the whole thing the humans were saying is like there can only be one alpha, and then now there's two, and it just kind of ends, and it's like, well, wait, what's going on now? There's just two of them. Did they agree? Like, what's going on? What happened to this? What happened to that? Like, there's just so many loose ends. So I'm assuming they're leaving it open to do a sequel. I can't imagine them not wanting to do a sequel. I don't know what the basis of it's going to be. They've used up all their cool monsters, but these make a lot of money, so I can't imagine them just ending it there. That would be a stupid business choice for them. I'm not saying I agree with that, but I'm picturing they're going to continue this in some way, and that's where they left a loose end. So maybe it's going to be Kong vs. Godzilla 2. Like, I don't know. It just kind of ended, and then the Monkey and Lizard went their separate ways, and it's like, well, okay, that's weird. But okay, and there's a lot of things that just haven't been explained through about the... I call them kaiju. I think they call them kaiju in that. I can't remember. But the monsters in it, like, they haven't explained, like, so much of it that there's a lot of loose ends that I'm hoping they explain later on in a different movie, but they probably won't. All that summed up, overall, I'm going to give this movie a 7 out of 10. I liked it. I enjoyed it. Same thing I said in the beginning. It was an amazing cinematic feature, but I really like these characters. I'm a big nerd for Godzilla. I have been ever since I was a tiny kid. So that's what I'm going to give the movie overall. Some minor things that I did touch on and I wanted to touch on again. The CGI in this, along with all the previous ones, not fantastic. It was okay. Not great, not horrible, just okay. And what I always say about CGI is it's very relative, in the sense that it's only good or bad based on what it's surrounded by. So CGI is always bad when they put it next to reality. So when you have a CGI creature and a human and they like go to kiss or something like that, it always looks really terrible because you have that comparison right there. But it always looks good when it's totally immersive and it's not based on anything realistic. The example I always give is Avatar. Not The Last Airbender, the blue people. And everyone praised it for amazing CGI. When the CGI sucked. It was terrible CGI. But it was all CGI. The entire world, everything in it was completely immersive. So the whole scene was CGI, so it looked good by comparison. But then there was that one brief scene where Sigourney Weaver, a real person, got in there and it looked like crap. That's the same thing. So when they're fighting Monkey vs. Lizard, it was really cool. That looked really badass, but there was a few brief scenes where like the little deaf girl went to touch Kong's hand, and it's just like, oh, that looks a little bit rough. So not a big deal, but something worth mentioning. And yeah, that's basically it. I like that they have the deaf girl, by the way, only because I know sign language, so I appreciate those kinds of things. So I learned sign language in college, and I took it recently, so I like that that was in there. But I don't know if other people felt the same way. And that whole communication between the monkey and the gorilla, it was super cheesy and kind of lame, but whatever. So there's my basic thoughts of it. I could go much more into detail, but I'm trying to keep things more brief from now on, because in my drunken rambles, I tend to just go on and on. So I'm trying to shut that down a little bit and keep it more to the point. There's the basic idea of the movie. 7 out of 10. Those are my main key points, my main thoughts there. Let me know your thoughts. If there's something I didn't touch on, let's hear it in the comments. If you agree, if you disagree, either way, that's okay. Let's hear it in the comments. Other than that, we shall see you soon next week for another video. By the way, Mortal Kombat just got pushed back, which I'm pissed about. They keep pushing movies back. I'm trying to plan my video recording schedule, and it keeps getting pushed back. Kong vs. Godzilla was supposed to be last week. Mortal Kombat got pushed out one more week, and possibly more, which I'm angered about because I really want to see that because it looks so fucking cool. I really want to watch that movie. Other than that, I'll figure out something to do if it gets pushed back. I'll record something and do something. So no worries there. Other than that, let's talk in the comments. See you on the next video. Thank you for watching and supporting. Love you all. Peace.